everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I'm going to be doing my TBR for the Make Me Read Readathon. This is a readathon that has been created by Ellie from Audible Books. It's basically a readathon where you put out polls on whichever social media platform you use of books that you want to get read, and people pick for you and then you read those books within the 2 weeks of the readathon. It starts, let me get my dates right, the 17th to the 30th of September, and I've already put my polls up today. I thought I'll put the polls up for 3 days, and yeah, so I've got the piles in front of me and I will talk you through what I have put on the polls, and then if you want to go and vote you can head over to my Twitter and vote for yourself. I've already had some votes, so that's always good. So at least I am going to have some options. I should also say that during September I will be doing Becca's Bookathon, but I'm going to do a separate video for that. I just thought, with being the joint host of this with obviously Ellie from Audible Books and then Paige from Pages with Paige, this is the one I'm kind of championing. But because that's only for 2 weeks, I'm going to do Becca's Bookathon and just kind of pick my TBR for the beginning of the month, and then hopefully some of these might fit in as well, so I can kind of fit them into the second half of September. So for poll number 1, I've done like a middle grade poll. So I have chosen the Unadoptables by Hannah Duke. This one says, way back in the autumn of 1880, 5 babies are discovered at the Little Tulip Orphanage in most unusual circumstances. Those babies are Lotta, Egbert, Fenna, Sem and Milo. The vile matron calls the children the Unadoptables, but this talented gang of best friends know their individuality is what makes them so special and so determined to stay together. When a sinister gentleman tries to get them in his clutches, the children make a daring escape across the frozen canals of Amsterdam, embarking on an adventure packed with pirate ships and puppets. But is their real home and their real family already closer than they realise? I didn't realise that this was Amsterdam. So if this does not get picked for the Make Me Read Readathon, then I'm going to use this for your revisionathon next year. Not getting it read, but it's still an option for then. The next one I'm going for is The Strange World Travel Agency, The Edge of the Ocean by L.D. Lipinski. I remember reading the first one. I think I gave it 3 stars, so I did enjoy it. I want to give it another chance with this one. I can't say much about it, but it's basically about a girl called Flick who walks into like a high street shop that's I think it's, I don't know if it's the outside is a travel agency, but she goes in and then meets Jonathan, the guardian of the world, the worlds of the travel agency travels to, and yeah, they go on these adventures together. So yeah, I want to give that one another go. And then there's Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. This one says, the world needs a rainbow like never before. 10-year-old Ray Gray wishes she had magic like her friends. Life in the Weatherlands just isn't the same without it. But then a forbidden trip to Earth turns everything Ray thought she knew about herself upside down. Ray must dig deep to find her inner power, battle new enemies, and let her true colours shine. I believe Gav from How to Turn Your Gav In, there's a character based on him in this, which is why I wanted to read it in the first place. So there's that one. And then there's George by Alex Gino. I don't know if this is classed as a middle grade or whether it's classed as a YA, but it's been on my shelf for a little while. It says, be who you are. When people look at George, they think they see a boy, but she knows she's not a boy, she knows she's a girl. George thinks she'll have to keep this a secret forever. Then her teacher announces that their class play is going to be Charlotte's Web. George really wants to play Charlotte, but the teacher says you can't even try out for the part because she's a boy. With the help of her best friend Kelly, George George comes up with a plan, not just so she can be Charlotte, but so everyone can see who she truly is. So there's that one as well. So they're the 4 of the middle grade type ones. Then for poll 2, I did some like ones that I've seen that are quite popular on BookTube and online, and that have been on my shelf for a while that I've just never got round to. So I'd probably feel like this poll is going to be the one that gets the most votes because most people have heard about these books. So there's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It says, Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived, which raises the ultimate question, which with infinite choices, what is the best way to live? So I don't know if I've actually read any Matt Haig, so that would be a first. There is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. This one says it's 200 years since Cinderella found her prince, but the fairy tale is over. Sophia knows the story though off by heart because every girl has to recite it daily from when she's tiny until the night she's sent to the royal ball for choosing, and every girl knows that she only has one chance, for the lives of those not chosen by a man at the ball are forfeit. But Sophia doesn't want to be chosen, she doesn't want to go to the ball at all, not when she's afraid the girl she loves might be chosen too. Pushed beyond breaking by a society that denies everything she is, Sophia sets out on a journey that will remake her world into one where she gets to choose. So there's that one. There's Normal People by Sally Rooney. I know this is a show on TV at some point. Connell and Marianne grow up in the same small town in the west of Ireland, but the similarities end there. In school, Connell is popular and well liked, while Marianne is a loner. But when the two strike up a conversation, awkward but electrifying, something life-changing begins. Normal Story is a story of mutual fascination, friendship and love. It takes us from that first conversation to the years beyond in the company of two people who try to stay apart but find they can't. So there's that one, and then there's American Royals by Catherine McGee. This has got a gift note in it. This was from I think it was from Becca. It looks like it's for this one. So Becca Farrell gifted me this one. The Washingtons have ruled America for almost 250 years. They're gorgeous, facially famous, and the beating heart of the most glorious court in the world. But behind the glittering balloons, elegant gowns, and perfect public personas lie forbidden romances and scandalous secrets that could cost them the throne. The heir is Princess Beatrice, who knows duty to the crown comes before all else, right? The spur is Princess Samantha, whose only duty is to party hard. The schemer is Daphne Dainton, who'll do anything to get back into royal favour. The nobody is Nina Gonzalez, who's unwittingly about to steal the spotlight. Welcome to the world of the American royals. So there's those ones. And then for poll 3, I've picked books that I started reading and then didn't finish. So we've got The Foundling by Stacey Halls. I started buddy reading this with Mel. She decided it wasn't for her. And I was intrigued by it, but then got caught up. Because I wasn't doing the buddy read anymore, I got caught up on another book, and then other books came after them. And so I got up to page 73 on this one. So it's not a book that I want to give up on. I want to carry on. So I don't know if I'll start from 73 and carry on. I probably will have to start again. But it says London 1754, 6 years after leaving her illegitimate daughter Clara at London's Foundling Hospital, Bess Bright returns to reclaim the child she has never known. Dreading the worst that Clara has died in care, Bess is astonished to be told she has already claimed her. Her life is turned upside down as she tries to find who has taken her little girl and why. So there's that one. Then there's The Road Trip by Bethel O'Leary. I remember putting a pre-order on this and then just not getting into it when I read it. So again, 65 pages in and just stopped reading. I know that my library app has the audiobook of this, so I might do the two together to try and help me with it. I did try to pick up from the audiobook from page 65 and forgot what had happened, so I'm going to need to start again. Addie and her sister are on an epic road trip to a friend's wedding in rural Scotland, but not long after setting off, a car slams into theirs. The driver is none other than Addie's ex, who she hasn't seen since their traumatic breakup 2 years earlier. Dylan and his best mate are heading to the wedding too, so Addie has no choice but to offer them a ride, and with 400 miles to go, they can't avoid confronting the very messy history of their relationship. So, The Road Trip by Bethel O'Leary. Then there's Born to be Mild, Adventures for the Anxious, by Rob Temple. I got 56 pages into this. I think this is actually a non-fiction. Yeah, by the time Rob Temple hits his 30s, he becomes so afraid of the world that he couldn't leave the house, so he decided to make a plan to embark on 50 mild adventures to become a little less Pooh Bear and a little more Bear Grylls. On a journey that takes him beekeeping, bowling, into a service station just off the M25, Rob starts to settle on a better balance and soon discovers the joys of a life well lived. In this raw and honest memoir, Rob shares his year of gentle adventure and lessons learnt along the way. So yeah, want to get on with that one. And then another one I started, I haven't got the bookmark in it, so I don't know where I got up to, but I want to start again. I listened to, this is called Solve for Happy by Mo Gaudat. I listened to a podcast. Oh, I can't remember her name. I want to say something Tucker. She's like a self-made, like she's an entrepreneur. I think she had a lot to do with like crafts and things like that. And I listened to her podcast, and she talked to Mo. He lost his son. I think his son was like 17, and his son died tragically after an operation or something like that. I think it was quite a routine operation and he died. And this man is so positive about life and just happiness. And listening to that podcast just made me want to get this book, and I sent off to Waterstone straight away and got it, started it. And it wasn't that it was bad, I just, at the time, I just don't think I was feeling non-fiction. So yes, I want to start from the beginning again and go with this one. I didn't get as far into this one. So there's those four. Then my next poll was for thrillers. So I've had these on my shelves for a while. So there's The Dinner Guest by B.P. Walter. 4 people walked into the dining room that night, one would never leave. Matthew, the perfect husband. Titus, the perfect son. Charlie, the perfect illusion. Rachel, the perfect stranger. Charlie didn't want Rachel at the book club. Matthew wouldn't listen. Classic crime meets Donna Tartt in this nerve-shattering domestic noir thriller that weaves a sprawling web of secrets around an opulent West London world and the dinner that ends in death. Then we've got First to Die by James Patterson. This is the first in the Women's Murder Club series. It says, as the only woman homicide inspector in San Francisco, Lindsay Boxer has to be tough, but nothing has prepared her for the brutal maniac who's begun a killing spree, slaughtering newlywed couples. Lindsay is sickened by the deaths, but her determination to bring the murderer to justice is threatened by personal tragedy, so she turns to Claire Washburn, a coroner, Cindy Thomas, a journalist, and Jill Bernhardt, an attorney, for help with both cases. So that sounds really good. The Book Club. Everyone is hiding a secret. One of them is murder. That's by C.J. Cooper. The book club was her idea, of course. It was her way into our group. A chance to get close. I knew from the day she arrived that she couldn't be trusted, and I was right, because Alice didn't come to the village for peace and quiet. She came for revenge. So yeah. And then editing, Helen here. I have just watched through my video and realised that I put an option on my books that actually wasn't one of the ones on the poll. So the book club by C.J. Cooper is actually The Vacation by Jonathan Mars. I'm not really sure because it's downstairs now about what that book's about, but it's basically, his books are like, the one was about the dating website, and then there was another one where a lot of people were in different cars in electronic cars that were travelling to, had been programmed to travel to a certain spot, and they were going to crash at the same time. Somebody had hacked the system and all these electric cars were going to crash at once, and it was looking at that. So those kind of stories, I'm assuming The Vacation is all these people on holiday and it's something about there's going to be a death or multiple deaths. That tends to be the John Mars way. I have enjoyed his books, but I do find them incredibly creepy. So I just wanted to say that the book club isn't on the list of my polls, but at least you know about the book now, and if you fancy it, you can give it a go. But it's definitely The Vacation by John Mars that I have put on the poll as a choice. So just thought I'd let you know that. Okay, fine. The final one is The Milo Murder Club by Robert Thorogood. He's the one who wrote the books of the Death in Paradise series, and I've read all of those so far. It says, to solve an impossible murder, you need an impossible hero. 77-year-old Judith Potts is blissfully happy. She lives alone in a faded mansion in Milo, sets crosswords for the Times, and there's no man in her life to tell her what to do or how much whiskey to drink. One evening, while out swimming in the Thames, Judith witnesses a brutal murder. When the local police don't believe her story, Judith and 2 unlikely friends decide to investigate for themselves. Together they are the Milo Murder Club. So there's that one. For poll 5, I picked 4 books that I've had on Audible for ages and just never read. So there's One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. That's basically about a girl who's sick of watching reality shows and not seeing any plus size people on there, so she goes on there herself. There's The X Talk by, I haven't written down who that's by. I'll write it on the screen. But it's basically a girl who works at a radio station and comes up with an idea for a radio show for our boss called The X Talk, and it says it would be a good idea to have exes on the show who advise people on relationships. And actually, it's a colleague who she doesn't get along with. They decide to pretend they're exes and they do the show, and it's really popular, but it's a lie and they don't like lying to people. But I think eventually it's going to be a hate to love romance, so there's that one. Then there's the Dolly Parton song teller, which is basically a lot of Dolly's songs with stories to go with the songs, so I'm excited to read that one. And then there's the Ex-Boyfriend Yard Sale, and that's a non-fiction, that's by Hayley McGee, and it's basically that this girl needs to sell some of her stuff. She realises that the only stuff really she's got worth selling is stuff that belonged to all her exes, so I'm intrigued to hear about that. So they're all the Audible ones. And then poll number 6 is again, oh no, not again, they are popular ones I think on like booktube and things, but they're ones that I've got in ebook form on my Kindle, and I'm not very good at reading ebooks. So we've got All the Lonely People by Mike Gale. I love Mike Gale. I've loved all of his books so far that I've read. This one is about an old man who kind of lies to his, is it daughter or granddaughter, of how well his life is going, and then I think she's coming for a visit and he's got to kind of create this life for himself. I think that's how it is. The 24-Hour Cafe by Livy Page. It's another one of them ones that I like, where it's like a community focusing on people's lives as they go in and out of a certain place. So in this place it's the 24-Hour Cafe, and it's how their lives interact, I think. I read The Lido by Livy Page, but I think I give it 3 stars. It was okay. Then we've got Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which is basically a story telling the story of Shakespeare's son who tragically died. And then there's A Good Catch by Fern Britton. I've read a lot of Fern Britton's, well, quite a few. They're just easy read. Most of them are set in Cornwall and little communities there. So there's those. So that's my 6 polls. Whether I will get to read 6 books in those 2 weeks, I don't know. Normally I'd probably get through about 4. But I thought if I give myself options, then that's always good. And like I say, I'm doing Becca's Bookathon as well. So please come and join the Make Me Read Readathon, especially if there's ones that you've wanted to get through on your TBR for a while and haven't. I've tried to pick a mixture from different places, like I said, my Kindle, Audible, and ones that I started and didn't finish. You know, I've got thrillers there, I've got middle grade, so I've got different themes with 4 books for each theme. So I've got a bit of a mix, so I'll feel more inclined to read them. But as Ellie said in her video, don't try and pick a load that have been on your pile for ages and you've been putting off because you want to feel like you want to read and you might put yourself into a slump. So yeah, come and join me, Ellie and Paige. We're really excited about this. Excuse the little squishies. They're basically make your own squishies with flour in that I've been making with Sophie, with all little sticker faces on, and that's where she decided to put them. So yes, the next video you will see will probably be in the next few days when I'm going to do my rolls for Bookathon. Haven't decided how many rolls I'm going to do. I might do 6, we'll see. So I will see you then. Bye.